Another big day for Tony Kemp, the former Taranaki youngster, now playing with the Newcastle Knights, a try scorer last week in the opening test match.
Greg, and one thing you didn't see there was off camera was that punishment for the first time had taken up the challenge of the haka. That has never ever been done before, and that just says how serious they are about today's game.
Carl Harrison, he spent a season in club football in 1984 here in Auckland playing for Point Chevalier. Rich gets things underway in the second test match on One World of Sport. Crunch.
Very important for both sides in the early exchanges to establish some ascendancy in the play the ball area. The Great Britain side is very keen to maintain some authority, quick play the balls and advance the football.
Dennis Spence up to the quarter line. He runs into Todd over the top. Wayne Mann underneath. Carl Harrison.
Strong performer for the midweek side on their tour. Carl Harrison thoroughly deserves selection in the test side today.
Jackson, midway, halfway of the quarter line. Great Britain end of the ground. Back it goes to Steadman. Because there was an incident in back play where one of the Great Britain players had been fouled and a touch judge is on the field. It's Andy Platt. Gavin Hill was the one that shoulder charged him. Two touch judges on the field, back inside the Great Britain half. Bill Harrigan getting the report from the touch judge.
Well, the Great Britain side had possession of the football. It was the last tackle. Gavin Hill was in at first marker and chased out to try and put pressure on the kick. Andy Platt stepped into his line and the two players collided.
I think it was a little more than just collided the way Gavin Hill took Andy Platt out of play. Andy did try and obstruct his view as far as trying to charge the kick down and approach the kicker. This will go against the Kiwis. It will go for the Pommies. A little silly thing, I think, from Gavin Hill. There was no pressure at all. They had possession of the ball. It was a silly thing to do.
First penalty of the match and a quick tap taken by Steadman, trying to catch the Kiwis napping out wide. Connelly pushed Kemp out of the way, but Clark is there as well as Blackmore, right on the halfway line. Edwards brings Eastwood in from the wing. He's tackled on the halfway mark. Schofield back inside to Platt. Big hit from Pongia, Hill and Mann. No marker. Jackson to play it. Schofield into open spaces. Freeman's back there for the Kiwis, right on his own line. The Kiwi skipper playing in his 31st test in succession, which is a New Zealand record, breaking the old record held by Dennis Williams.
Very enthusiastic start from the Great Britain side. They'll be very keen now to keep the New Zealand side pinned in their own corner, try and force an error and get possession of the football.
Pongia. Todd.
Strong tackle from Dennis Betts, a square off from earlier on in the game.
Well, Harrigan has spotted something in there, and I think he's going to call Dennis Betts out. Forget about the clearing kick at this stage.
It's a good call by referee Bill Harrigan. There's a high shot put on by Dennis Betts. Nothing malice or nothing about it, but he just went in high. It was more or less a warning for the rest of the team. Make sure you keep in line.
Ridge on his own corner. Not a great kick has gone up the side of his foot, but into touch. So they'll still have a set of 6. Matthew Ridge really gets annoyed with himself at times, and he wouldn't be happy about that. Such a perfectionist when it comes to his kicking game. Brent Stuart, co-leader with Brent Todd in the Ubix MVP. We'll be naming the man of the series after the match today.
Expect a very strong game from Kiwi loose forward Brendan Tuuta, who performed so well last week in Palmerston North.
Freeman wants it down the blind. Steadman's home for Great Britain, but he's been sent back 10 metres out from his own line. 0-0 the score.
That was an expensive option by Graham Steadman, opting not to take the ball on the full, which allowed the Kiwi chasing team valuable time to gain extra yardage.
The crowd thought there was a bit of a shepherd in Daryl Powell to play it. Now it's Harrison up over the quarter line. Edwards runs into his opposite number Freeman and the vice-captain Todd. Platt. Steadman with the clearing kick. Ridge is home. He allows it to bounce on his own quarter line. Blackmore.
Very intense start so far, Greg, from both sides. Not a lot of errors in the game, just exchanging sets of 6 and waiting for the error.
Freeman, he wants to play it down in the line's half, and rightly so.
There was touch and flight too.
Offiah. Good chasing from Freeman. Clark. The quarter line. The line's end of the field. Schofield misses out one. He's got Connelly. Out to Eastwood, unmarked.
Forward pass.
He's been called back. Forward pass. They haven't heard it with the roar of the crowd. Eastwood and Dean Clark having a bit of a pushing game.
That pass on the line, replay from Garry Connelly to Paul Eastwood, was forward.
You can see with that exchange between Paul Newlove and Dean Clark, just the intensity of the feeling out there. And there's also, in back play, Gary Freeman and Graham Steadman were also having a go. So tensions are really high in this game.
It's a Kiwi ball. Yes, it's been kind of an electric feeling to the first 5 minutes of the test match. A lot at stake here. Can the Lions salvage some pride?
Both
the Kiwis
sides
go on and win the series.
Greg, both sides have got to forget about these niggly tactics. Just get on with playing no mistake football.
Well, there's a mistake from New Zealand. First time they really got into a good attacking position as well, Ken, so it turned out to be costly.
Yes, it's so important in matches of this sort of intensity that if you get field position, you must maintain possession of the football. Gavin Hill should have had a little bit more respect for it on that occasion.
Timeout. The crowd enjoying the fact that Shaun Edwards has been told by the referee to go and retrieve the ball.
And that's only because none of the Kiwis will want to go get it for him.
Edwards has lost it. Knock on. Brendon Tuuta wants to go on with it, but the whistle's been blown. I think the players are having a bit of trouble hearing the referee's whistle. You don't see too many mistakes like that from players like Edwards and also Schofield.
Yet all players in the Coliseum-type atmosphere of a test match, if they're placed under some pressure, can make errors. Now here's a great opportunity for the New Zealand side. They've got a scrum 25 metres out.
And Martin Offiah been asked to leave the field because of blood coming out of it at the top of his eye. So great opportunity for New Zealand. And he's been replaced by John Devereaux in jersey number 16.
Dean Clark. Freeman waits for it. 25 metres out now. 0-all the score. 1-1 to sport the second test match. Brendon Tuuta out wide to Sean Hoppe. Hoppe. 11 metres out. Freeman picks up Gavin Hill. Brings Dean Clark into it. The gap soon closes. 10 metres out. Duanne Mann inside it goes to Pongia. Quentin Pongia, where's the support? It wasn't there. He's 2 metres out. Freeman, the little dummy, Garry Freeman is in. The opening points to New Zealand. Freeman scores his 8th test try in his 31st test match. What a start.
And you couldn't have asked for a better example from a player who's got the responsibility of leading the Kiwis in 1992. His club in Sydney Eastern Suburbs have been missing him desperately. From a great set of 6, we see Garry Freeman in at first receiver, gets a great ball from Duanne Mann to step inside the Great Britain defence and go over for a great first try.
Excellent stuff by New Zealand. Garry Freeman, their little general. He spots a gap. Over he goes. Great start for New Zealand. They certainly have started off where they ended up last week. Again, as Garry puts the ball down, elation on his face. The crowd have gone absolutely berserk. Good start, as I said, by New Zealand. Let's hope they can continue.
Relatively easy kick for Matthew Ridge. Although no doubt he'll be feeling plenty of pressure down there today. He's done it! The try scorer, Garry Freeman. The conversion from Matthew Ridge. New Zealand leading 6-0 after 6 minutes of play.
Garry Freeman giving messages to the Kiwi team just to maintain their momentum going forward. Now they want to complete a good set of 6 and advance the football down the other end of the park. Put this Great Britain side right back under some more pressure.
Well, Hugh, last Sunday we saw the Kiwis score the opening try, but they allowed Great Britain back into it, so they've got to shut up shop now.
Well, I wouldn't say shut up shop, Greg. I've got to make sure that they do continue to play. They have just keep the enthusiasm, the drive, the hard runs there, as we see from Gavin Hill, and the big hits coming in defence also.
Maybe I should have said they really have to shut the bombs down. But that's the quarter line. Todd on the quarter line.
An area of the game where the New Zealand side have really looks strong so far in the opening exchanges is their organisation around a play the ball area. Duanne Mann's been doing a fine job at dummy half with options on both sides of the play the ball, which is a good sign.
There's a hit up now from Brent Stuart. Pongia leading the hit ups for the New Zealanders with 3. Platt doing a lot of the hard yards for Great Britain with 4. It's only early days yet. Ridge, a left-footed kick. Knock on. Mistake from Phil Park.
Again, smart football by the New Zealand side. May have been a little bit fortuitous, but again, they had 2 options for the kick. Garry Freeman, as captain, was standing at first receiver. Matthew Ridge was on the other side of the play the ball area. Problems for the Great Britain side, Greg, some players warming up.
As Kemp has a run with it. 5 metres inside New Zealand territory. Freeman back inside to Brendon Tuuta. A marvellous game last week coming in to the starting 13 to replace Todd and Ikau. He's unavailable. Hill. And a big hit from Dennis Betts, his opposite number 11. Brent Stuart. Daryl Powell, the centre, doing some donkey work in the middle of the field on defence. Freeman into open spaces. No. Steadman read it pretty well and got there before Clark. Kemp wraps Steadman up on the quarter line. Great Britain into the line.
It's great work by New Zealand. That kick by Garry Freeman was on. It was just a little too hard. Dean Clark was actually coming through there, but just if it had dropped over the top, it would have been interesting to see what developed.
John Devereaux is on. He's replacing Martin Offiah, who's in the blood bin, receiving some attention to a cut.
There'll be a few people at the ground, wouldn't mind if he stayed there for the rest of the game either, Greg.
Billy McGinty, the second rower. Penalty to Great Britain because one of the support players was taken out. Sean Edwards talking to referee Halligan that he wants the Kiwi involved to be sent to the sin bin.
Yeah, 50-50 situation for the Kiwi players when you've got a support player and the player in possession of the football is looking to make the pass of whether one you lay off or two. We see here the break being made, a bad miss by Dean Clark, and Quentin Pongia took out Sean Edwards in back play.
So Great Britain with a chance to hit back now, down 6-0 at the moment. Harrison taking a bit of stopping, the big man, 25 metres out. Edwards, Schofield, Daryl Powell up to the quarter line. Down the blind side to Devereaux. He wants to change direction. Eno has him, throws him into the turf. Platt, good tackle from Kevin Eno again. Good to see the big man busy on defence. Schofield, good defence from the Kiwis. There's just one tackle left in the set of 6 for the Lions. There's the kick from Edwards. Blackmore is back there, catches it on the full in goal. So it'll be a restart from the quarter line. Blackmore wants to get straight back into the action. Penalty. Great Britain inside the 10 metres.
Excellent play by the New Zealand side.
Ridge wants to keep the momentum going. Matthew Ridge can't get away from Harrison.
See the Kiwi side now, they've got to watch out that their heart doesn't start to rule their head. They've either been better at taking the easy option of getting 40 or 50 metres from the kick and then having possession of the ball with 6 tackles with better field position.
Freeman! Garry Freeman! Dean Clark's there! Has he got the pace to get away? He's run away from the support. Tony Kemp was looming up on the inside, but the Kiwis on a bit of a roll again. 10 metres out. Freeman! Wrapped up by Steadman. Betts in there as well. 3 of them, in fact. Tuuta. Brent Stuart. It's been intercepted. Garry Schofield. He's had tendinitis this week. He hasn't been able to train. He's not going to have the speed to get away. Hoppe is there. Now, if that was Offiah, that was a certain try. Down the blind side they go. Good counter-attack from Great Britain.
Greg, the interesting part of that is that in the previous tackle, Martin Offiah had his ankle injured, and he was hobbling back in defence, and that's why he couldn't get up to Garry Schofield. If he had been normal, in normal circumstances, he certainly would have caught up, and that would have been a try, no doubt about it at all.
Steadman. The Kiwis stretched at the moment. They need to regroup. They're up by 6-0. Phil Clark. Good tackle from Brent Todd. Schofield. Jackson. Edwards. He pops it back. McGinty. 1 tackle to go in the set of 6. There it is from Schofield. He had all the time in the world. Ridge coming for it. It's been knocked back and it's been picked up by Gavin Hill for the Kiwis.
Showed a lot of character the Kiwi side, then back on defence, scrambling to get back. Very difficult, and Great Britain really had the edge on them. They did very well to get out of that. I wouldn't be too keen on too many passes down this end of the field, Huey.
No doubt at all. Just cart it up. Brent Stuart doing the heavy work. Brent Todd next, and then you'll see the ball kick downfield.
And what about the performance of Garry Freeman so far?
Oh, he's been inspiring. As I said earlier, the general, he's just taking control, making sure the players are doing what they're asked to do, and just directing traffic and kicking the ball downfield, which is a much better aspect of their play today.
Brent Todd pops one over the top to Sean Hoppe. Tried to kick it, but it went into touch.
This must be New Zealand's ball. Must be New Zealand's ball.
Malcolm, really, Great Britain coach and his manager, Horace Lindsay, not too happy with the decision, as we saw on screen before. Not too happy at the moment. Well, really, a lot riding on the performance of his team today.
Well, this game today will make or break their tour. This will say whether it's been a success or not.
On the halfway line. Pongia gets a good ball out to Blackmore. Richie Blackmore gets it out to Tuuta. It's stolen. The referee has called it back. No try.
Seeing the line read replay. Brendon Tuuta running around for a try, but the pass that he received from Richard Blackmore was adjudged forward, and Great Britain get the feed at the scrum.
Great Britain have made about 7 mistakes on defence and 7 missed tackles so far in this match. Kiwis have only scored the 1 try from them. A try to Freeman converted by Ridge, coming up to the 20-minute mark in the first half. One world of sport, international rugby league at its best. Connelly to play it. Edwards. At half-time today, we'll have a major announcement on the future of rugby league in this country. Clearing kick and Blackmore had a little more work to do today compared to the opening 20 last week in Palmerston North. Not sure. How did you read this incident, Hugh, again? McGinty being talked to?
Well, yeah, he's been talking to just a little something in the tackle. It was hard to see actually what was going on because there were a lot of people in front. It was very, very hard to see what was actually going on. But in saying that, the Kiwis were also taking their time to get back. Maybe the effects of the start after about 20 minutes is really starting to show on them.
We saw from that last set of 6 from the Great Britain side that they opted to just use 5 rucks to advance the football and a good kick to improve their field position. I think both sides are starting to feel the pace.
New Zealand ahead 3-2 in the penalty count. Todd. Clark. Hill. Freeman. Garry Freeman. Oh, inside it goes to Kemp. Out it goes to Mann. I think a try went begging there. They went the wrong way, but they're still in with a chance. Knock back. Fifth tackle, Tuuta. They're allowing him to run, Brendon Tuuta. That's the 6th tackle. I don't think he heard the call. Oh, I think it was one that got away. Howie Tamati not showing any emotion at this stage. And Lee Jackson comes away with it.
I think Brendon might have had the earmuffs on there because I could hear every one of those players out there telling it was a 5th tackle.
Vince. Great Britain needing to settle it down, run it out, and Harrison does exactly that.
Yeah, it's around this area of the football field too that the New Zealand side has to be dominant, stopping the British forwards from advancing the ball.
Intercept! Shot Hoppe! Now this man should have the speed to get away. He cuts back inside, he takes them on. How's that for cheek? Oh, he made them look silly.
There is no player in New Zealand knows Carlaw Park and that right-hand touchline the way that Hoppe does. For the North Coast Tigers over the last 2 or 3 years, the player has been absolutely sensational. On this park earlier this year, he opened up Auckland's account against the Canberra Raiders with some sensational football. We see the line red replay, the long ball from Garry Schofield, the captain. Hoppe now with the Canberra Raiders running down his favourite touchline, goes off his right foot, back off his left foot, straight up in between 2 weak tackles from the Great Britain side to go for a very powerful try from the young Canberra Raider. We see again on the line red replay, he comes inside, goes off his left foot. There it is, great footwork in between Billy McGinty, beats the tackle of that's a great try.
Great stuff by Hoppe. That pass was never on by Garry Schofield. Here I thought Hoppe erred by going back inside, but he backed his strength against everyone else, and he showed just how strong he is.
Hoppe, 22 years of age, his 3rd test, and his debut earlier in the month against Papua New Guinea. That's his 2nd try in test matches at the Ridge. 48 points in Test Rugby League and only 7 tests so far. Can he chalk up a half century? No, not this time. Waved away. Sean Hoppe, the try scorer, and it's New Zealand 10, Great Britain 0 after 25 minutes of play in the first half. Missed tackles. New Zealand doing pretty well there. Great Britain 10 missed tackles so far. That's why they're probably down 10-0. And Howie Tamati, well, there's a half a smile there, isn't there? Hill to the quarter line. Freeman. Garry Freeman. He's had a great start to this match. He has to take the tackle of McGinty midway, halfway in the quarter line. New Zealand end of the field. Duanne Mann, good yards from dummy half.
This is great work by New Zealand. What they're doing, they're upsetting the Great Britain sliding defence by changing the angles, making sure they're running across field, turning players back on the inside, which is really upsetting their defensive pattern. As we saw on that occasion, but there was no one back up on the inside.
Now Freeman checking for Paul Eastwood's wing.
One area of the game where Great Britain coach Malcolm really will be concerned is their lack of pressure on the New Zealand kicker on the last 3 or 4 occasions. Garry Freeman and Matthew Ridge have had plenty of time to pick their place on the field when putting the kicks down.
Phil Clark. Dennis Betts has left it behind. Knocked back.
Kevin Edo's having a strong, effective defence today. Greg has played very strongly in that area.
Placement warming up for Great Britain. Good chasing from Gavin Hill. Steadman has been told to hand it over. So the Kiwis in with another chance, 10 metres out. Todd inside to Freeman. This time he's wrapped up. Tuuta waiting for it at dummy half. Brendon Tuuta got to have a go on his own. 3 metres out. The Kiwis 10, the Lions 0. There's a kick through from Tuuta, but no, it's knocked on. He towed it through, tried to recover, couldn't get to it though.
Close call for the New Zealand side. Brendon Tuuta, no marker, which means he can play the ball forward. And unfortunately, it was just lost forward going over goal, and Great Britain are able to recover.
Another replacement for Great Britain, Billy McGinty being replaced by Michael Jackson in jersey number 15.
Phil Clark trying to run it away from his own line. Lee Jackson to the quarter line. Andy Platt. Dennis Betts, the second rower, kicking.
I think that's a sign that the Great Britain side are just starting to get a little bit rattled. Graham Steadman on the last set of 6 was caught in possession of the football in his own quarter. Now we see Dennis Betts kicking the ball. That just shows us a little bit of disorganisation around there, Greg.
Brent Stuart runs into Harrison. Todd, Freeman. This time they're on to the whiz. Tony Kemp having a run off the foot of Lee Jackson. Back to 1. Hoppe can't quite get away from Offiah. Tony Kemp to the quarter line. Freeman. Clark, switch of play. No, he has a go on his own. Freeman. Hill out wide. 11 metres out from the line.
Great field position for the Kiwis.
2 tries to 1. To none. 2 tries to none. Make it. Oh, almost 3 to none. It's still lying loose. Connelly comes away with it. But there's a knock on in there. Oh, Freeman really has them rattled today as Malcolm really looks on.
We see Gary Freeman on the last tackle putting a little kick through. Steadman will come into the picture. There he is now, tries to secure the ball but loses it forward. Good scrum for the Kiwis now. Great field position and 6 tackles to play with.
Freeman. Clark. Inside. Back to Gary Freeman. 5 out. Todd. Brent Todd looking for only his 2nd test try. Pongia. The Lions really digging deep now. Freeman. Clark. Dean Clark caught with the ball. Harrison there as well as Schofield.
A great attacking position like that, the Kiwis should have been standing a lot deeper. It enabled Great Britain to get up too quick.
There's the kick and chase from Tuuta. But Eastwood is back there. He pushes it dead, so it'll be a restart from the goal bounce. So the Kiwis will get another 6 tackles.
Yeah, that's good football too from the Kiwis. They could see that they weren't going to get in. So on the last tackle, they opted to put the ball in the end goal. Great Britain player Paul Eastwood forced to push it dead, which means that Great Britain have now got to defend another set of 6 from the Kiwi side. Look for the Kiwis to work the ball to the middle on the play 3 or play 4. Greg, in a big play on the last.
Great Britain taking plenty of time with this restart. They are really rattled at this stage.
We asked the question, can they hold out?
Pongia to the quarter line. Hill 10 metres out. It's all New Zealand at the moment. Todd, Ridge up from fullback. Mann, head down. Peter out. Now it's a penalty to Great Britain because Duanne Mann didn't play the ball correctly. There was no connection with the foot.
This play the ball here, referee Billy Halligan ruled that New Zealand hooker Duanne Mann rolled the ball back between his legs and didn't make contact with the foot. That's a good call from Bill Halligan.
Penalties 3-all at the moment. Great Britain still inside their own half. Harrison to play it. Out to nobody. Schofield. Daryl Powell inside to Garry Connelly. Daryl Powell with the dummy.
That's very good yardage from dummy half by Daryl Powell. That's the story of the game.
Dennis Betts back inside to Lee Jackson. He's going to have too much pace. Here's a reply from Great Britain. They caught the Kiwis napping.
One area of the game where the Great Britain side was going to be dominant at some stage in the series was going to be at hooker. They opted to change the wicket hooker, Martin Dermott, from their starting lineup, and they replaced him with the whole player, Lee Jackson. So one of the reasons he was replaced is because of his very, very quick out of the dummy half. We see to play the ball from Daryl Powell, Gary Connelly at dummy half through the quick hands of Edwards to Schofield. Great inside ball, inside line running from Dennis Betts. Great inside ball again to Lee Jackson. This guy plays in the front row, outstrips the chasing Richard Blackmore for a great try for Great Britain.
Great fight back by Great Britain. Dennis Betts, as we see it in the open, all he had to do was draw Matthew Ridge. Lee Jackson had enough speed to go all the way. They've come back, Great Britain, I'm sure. With Martin Offiah outside, they'll be back a lot quicker than this.
Yeah, valuable time too in the match now for the Great Britain side. Lee Jackson extremely quick for a hooker, for a front rider scored. That's a terrific try.
Jackson from Hull Football Club, his 11th test and his debut against Papua New Guinea on the tour of PNG in New Zealand in 1990. Eastwood, also from the Hull club, trying to convert his teammate's try. He adds the extras. Conversion by Paul Eastwood. Lee Jackson, the try scorer. So after 35 minutes of the first half, is New Zealand leading Great Britain by 10 points to 6.
If Great Britain were to get back into this game, they needed to rely on their experienced players, and we saw that with that lead-up try by Shaun Edwards and Garry Schofield. Don't hang off Garry, or else he'll do that to you all day.
Kiwi didn't. Dennis Pitts run a great line too to split the Kiwi defence.
Well, that makes a difference. He can spot out the holes and run straight to it. Blokes like Schofield and Shaun Edwards will find you. Just a matter of running straight and true.
Huey, this game is really all about basics and turning possession into points, and the Kiwis were really dominating, so that try coming against the run of play, really.
Yeah, and the basics, as we call them, we were penalised for doing a basic mistake, and that was to play the ball. From that incurring penalty, Great Britain are back up within 4 points.
That's the quarter line. Great Britain into the field. There's a knock on in there, so a chance for New Zealand now to hit back.
As we talk about basics.
The last time the New Zealand side were down here, Great Britain had to defend 18 tackles. We see on the line read replay Lee Jackson knocking off from dummy half. I'm just going to say, Greg, that the last time the Kiwis were here, 3 sets of 6 they completed and couldn't get in. They'll be very keen to make amends for this next important period of the game.
Well, Halligan having a quiet chat to Lee Jackson. Freeman takes it, puts it in, takes it out, knocked back. Clark. Now it's Kemp, the back standing a little flat-footed. Tony Kemp trying to get something happening out wide. Midway, halfway in the quarter line.
One thing that'll be a feature of the Kiwis play in the centres in particular, Greg, will be to keep an eye out for Tony Kemp trying to make play for Kevin Edo.
Tuuta to the quarter line. Todd. Freeman. Clark. It's a big line-up. With good defence. Eastwood over the top. Lee Jackson underneath. They're not too comfortable. Having trouble playing it.
He was hit very hard and very high in that tackle. Paul Eastwood coming off his wing. Whoa, over the top. Kevin felt the brunt of that.
There's the up and under from Freeman, giving it plenty of air. Great Britain take it well. Steadman there. Dennis Spitz. Harrison. Knock on. That's another chance for the Kiwis.
See Kevin Ero in a lot of pain coming off the side of the field. Being assisted off. Great concern to Howie Tamati, I'm sure. As the replacement comes on, Ropati coming on to jersey number 16.
And the Kiwis are inside the corner. So bad luck for Kevin Ero. Not only for New Zealand, but also for his Manly club. Pongia, he's 5 metres out. Couple of minutes to go to half-time.
Has been replaced by number 16,
Todd.
Ropati.
Hill. Freeman, standing a little flat-footed. Tuuta pops one out the back to nobody. It's going to be picked up by Offiah. Martin Offiah is away. There are 4 chases. He's put a foot into touch. They had him covered, I think. It was on your side, Huey.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know why he's tried to stay on the outside here. He had an arrow of defence coming across. He wouldn't have made it to the line, no way at all. But why he stayed so close to the line with it being so slippery, as we see his feet going down the side, the linesman, no doubt at all in his mind.
Plenty of trouble with their scrum. John Devereaux in the centre, bottom row there. Placement. He's had a bit of time on the field.
Interesting tactic
in the blood bin.
Interesting tactic by the by Kiwi coach Howie. Tamati Ropati has gone straight into standoff, and Dean Clark shifted to the centres.
Ropati replacement for Cavalero.
Tia had a significant impact on the game in Palmerston North last week. Very dominant influence when he came on, particularly running the ball up.
Stuart. Reminded that at half-time of this match we'll have a major announcement involving the future of rugby league in New Zealand as we head towards the year 2000. Knock on. Just a bit of a concentration lapse there from Duanne Mann. Got a pat on the back from his opposite number, Lee Jackson. They're great competitors in the British First Division scene. Cavalero limping from the field. What a great player he's been over the years for New Zealand, even though some of his critics say he's a little too hot and cold at times. Pongia. Hill keeping it alive, back to Ridge. This will probably be the last set of 6 in the first half of the second test. Freeman, touched by a Great Britain player. In fact, it's been gathered in by Martin Offiah. New Zealand, 2 tries to 1 in the first half. Connelly. Is blown up.
It's no wonder it has blown up. There were a few high shots going there by New Zealand players. It just didn't have to happen. He was cornered inside his own 22. That was uncalled for, but it's still, it adds to the spice of the game.
It's been fairly electric out there, and that is half-time. The referee has blown it up. No, he hasn't. The players wanted to walk to the dressing room, and Bill Harrigan has called them back, saying, "I'm not finished with you lot yet."
I think here will call out both captains to make sure that the law is laid down before all players leave this paddock.
Rugby league has got a very big part to play in the development of New Zealand as a community over the next few years, and its image and profile of the game is very, very important. It's very sad to see this aspect of the test match have such a dominating factor on the game. It's been a game that's been played very intensely and very competitively, but there is no part in rugby league for some of this stuff. Very good to see referee Billy Harrigan, who's regarded as one of the top referees in the game, really assert some authority in this part.
Freeman to come back out just so he can make sure that the law is laid down and both sides know exactly where they stand.
Well, in fact, Harrigan gave the message to the vice captain, Brent Todd, while Freeman was off the field, changing his jersey or doing something. But that is half-time. It's a bit of an anti-climax at the end there, but they go to the break at Carlaw Park with New Zealand leading Great Britain by 10 points to 6. We'll be back at Carlaw Park shortly. He's 2 metres out. Freeman, the little dummy, Garry Freeman is in. The opening points to New Zealand. Freeman scores his 8th test try in his 31st test match. What a start.
Live at 5 o'clock on grandstand is the All Blacks in the second test against Australia. We'll see you there. We need you.
Tuesday on Crime Watch, police need your help to find thousands of dollars of smoke-stained money and the armed robbers who snatched it. Crime Watch, your chance to help fight crime in association with State Insurance. 8:30 Tuesday on 1. proud sponsor of New Zealand Rugby League.
20 classic tracks, including Sharing the Night Together, Better Love Next Time, all the hits, and a little bit more. Get completely hooked with the best of Dr. Hook.
Some people really make extraordinary efforts to get close to the Rothmans Rally of New Zealand. Others can just dial this number. Actions and interviews specially filmed for the official video of the Rothmans Rally 92. Non-stop action, the real story of the cars, the drivers and the crews. Rothmans Rally 92, the official video. Exclusive action from New Zealand's biggest annual sporting event. Order your copy right now. The phones are waiting. Call 0800 738 888. Not only the best view, but also the whole picture.
Coldrex Sustained Relief Cold Capsules give 12 hours of relief from head and nasal congestion without drowsiness, as hundreds of scientifically formulated cells slowly release their medication. Coldrex, it keeps on working while you do.
Mustang Sally, John Rolls, Soul and Affection. You better slow your Mustang. His brand new album. Man loves a woman. 14 songs. I wanna know what I'm loving. Every one a classic, every song a hit. Do you like good music? Oh, that sweet soul music. John Rolls. In your eyes. Soul and Affection. You won't hear better.
Welcome back to Carlaw Park. Now, over the past months, there's been a lot of debate about the proposed Super League, the National Club Rugby League competition due to begin next year. Maybe. Well, joining us now is the president of the New Zealand Rugby League, Trevor Maxwell. Trevor, put us out of our misery. What has your league decided?
Well, the leagues over the last year or so have driven, if you like, the New Zealand Rugby League to look at setting up a national competition. A steering committee, as a result, was set up, and that was chaired by Bernie Wood, the Deputy President of the New Zealand Rugby League, and yesterday a resolution was passed that a National Super League would be in place for 1993. There is a very comfortable sponsorship package in place, and we are delighted with what we've got, and we're certain that we can make it go. We look at it as an adjunct to the Winfield Cup, so that Rugby League in New Zealand at the present time will be credible so far as Great Britain and Australia are concerned, and we think it's got a lot going for it.
Trevor Maxwell, well, Bernie Wood, you chaired the steering committee. Tell us about it. How many teams will there be?
Well, Greg, the desired number is 10, although if the bids are very, very good, we may go to 12, or conversely, we may reduce it to 8. But at this stage, we are looking at a desired number of 10 teams participating home and away in a national club competition next year with top 5 playoff.
Will you be inviting teams, or can they make a bid?
We will be inviting teams. The application forms will be forwarded to all the leagues in New Zealand at the end of this month, at the end of July. Then the leagues will decide how their teams will be formed and framed. We expect all the bids to be in by the end of October, and during the month of November we will announce the successful bidders for the Super League.
So this really is a new tier for rugby league in this country. We're going to have obviously the Winfield Cup team in 1995. Where does the Super League, where is it placed? Well,
New Zealand Rugby League has a Mission 2000, and working through the 90s to the year 2000, we hope that, of course, we're having the Auckland team in, hopefully by 94, but 95 into Winfield Cup. Then there's the question of the second New Zealand team, and with that now comes our professional competition in New Zealand, and below that, the amateur competition. But this is a dramatic change for us from what we've been used to in the past, and it really is a tremendous fill for rugby league in this country. We are now on our mission through to make rugby league a dominant sport in New Zealand, and that's what we're about.
Exciting news then. The Super League will start in 1993, and you'll be able to watch it grow right where you are at the moment on One World of Sport. We're proud to be associated with this new venture next year. Well, stay with us. We're back very shortly with the second half of the second test, New Zealand against Great Britain.
Where the score's 10-6 to the Kiwis in the second test. It's half-time, the Kiwis and the Lions. The Kiwis just 40 minutes away from glory if they can pull it off. Their first major series victory in 8 years. Now, if you came in through the first half, you'll have noticed the occasional picture disturbance. It has nothing to do with your set and everything to do with a container crane working on the Auckland wharves. It's hard to credit, but it's breaking up the transmission signal from Carlaw Park. And just before we get back to the deciding half of the series, if you want to buy a souvenir Great Britain jersey, here's the number to ring. It's 0800 738 888. It's a toll-free number if you'd like to order one of the Great Britain jerseys. 0800 738 888. Now let's get back to Carlaw Park.
Steadman gets things underway in the second half. Gavin Hill. Great Britain 118 tackles in the first half. Andy Platt and Dennis Betts leading the way from the loose forward. Phil Clark with 13. New Zealand a total of 98. So they haven't had to do as much work as Great Britain. Stuart 14, Hill 14, and Brent Todd leading the way with 18 tackles in the first half. Todd also leading the way on attack with the most number of hit-ups. There he is again. Pongia. 11 metres from halfway. Freeman straight into the arms of Eastwood. Well, Hugh McGann, what do you think the message was in the Kiwi dressing room at half-time?
Well, very quiet by Howie, who made sure that everyone was still very relaxed, but kept their eyes and make sure that their concentration was still on the game. So there wasn't a great deal said there, but as far as Malcolm really was concerned, awe-inspiring what he actually said to his team. Me being a Kiwi and listening to what was actually going on just made you want to go out and fight for Great Britain. It's just absolutely amazing what he said. So it'll be interesting to see how the Great Britain team fire in the second half.
Well, a mistake from Kemp, but he got away with it. It was knocked back. Ropati. Remember, Kevin Iro is off the field with a leg injury. Ropati replacing him. Hill popped it back inside. Mann was there to clean up, and it touched a Great Britain hand. So we've got another set of 6 on our hands here. Todd. 32 metres out from the Great Britain line. First points on the board in the second half. Absolutely vital for New Zealand. Kemp, no room to move out wide. Stuart. Freeman. Garry Freeman. Looked like he was heading through another gap. Final tackle. Kemp has had a great start to the second half with his handling. The high kick. Steadman taken out. Halligan was right on the spot. It'll be a penalty to Great Britain.
We'll see that the New Zealand side got to the end of the set of 6. Steadman tries to go for the ball. Brendon Tuuta comes in and takes him out early. Referee Bill Halligan well placed to adjudicate. That's a very good decision from the Australian referee.
A couple of silly mistakes by New Zealand early on. Tony Kemp tried to milk as much of a penalty as he could out of that last play of the ball, and playing the man in that high kick. Certainly a silly thing to do. We've got to make sure, let's play the ball, let's play the game. Let's not try and get penalties for ourselves.
Garry Connelly, the young centre. Phil Clark up over the halfway line. Harrison allowed to run. Malcolm really has been the Great Britain coach for 5 years. As Steadman gets through. That's the quarter line. Good tackle from Ridge. 1 tackle to go in the set of 6. Edwards, there's the kick over the top. Hoppe is back there. He's put it down and into touch. Knock on.
A lot of pressure now for the Kiwi side. Great set of 6 from the Great Britain team on the last. Shaun Edwards put the ball over the top. The brains trust of the Great Britain team. Very anxious to see a good result in the next 40 minutes from the side. Great field position for Great Britain. Possession of the football and 6 tackles to play with.
Edwards puts it in, takes it out. Schofield. Offiah's looming. Martin Offiah! Martin Offiah! He ran into Richard Blackmore. Oh, how dangerous is the man?
But he tried too hard on his own that time. He had poor Eastwood outside, unmarked, could have gone into the corner. Just tried too hard, Martin.
There's a long ball. It's 2-on-1. Dennis Betts will score for Great Britain. They've hit back second half. 10-all the score with the kick to come.
Very professional effort again from the Great Britain side. From the scrum when they opted to go wide with Martin Offiah, stretched the defensive line of the Great Britain side, and we see on the line red replay Garry Schofield with the long ball over the top. Dennis Betts will come into your picture, steps inside Matthew Ridge, goes over and beats the chasing Gary Freeman, and goes over with Matthew Ridge, comes back in on him again.
Great ball over the top this time, as you said, from Garry Schofield. Wasn't taken in, Dennis Betts on hand to score. Great stuff. That's it, as we see again. Dennis Betts steps back inside Matthew Ridge, left unopposed. Dennis Betts, I'm sure it's a great start for Great Britain, and they'll be even keen to continue it through the second half.
Hugh, you said in the first half that they really can't allow Garry Schofield to have time on his hands, and the Kiwis really stood off him again there, and they allowed him plenty of time to pop that long pass over the top.
Well, that's right, Greg. You just can't allow Garry Schofield time to play the game he wants to play. Dean Clark is opposite, and other players have to make sure that they get up and make him play. Make him play before he decides what he wants to do. Just get out there and just put pressure on him, cut off your supports as they've done earlier in the first half, and make sure they do stay on top.
Eastwood. 3 tries and 21 goals on tour. He's put the lines in front. A pressure kick. He likes it. Great Britain 12-10 after 6 minutes of the second half.
Yes, and even more importantly, the Great Britain side retained the football from the kick-off, so it'll be an opportunity for them to complete another set of 6, which denies the New Zealand team even more time with the football and more pressure for them to absorb.
Well, now it's New Zealand's turn to try and cut back. Hill was pushed away.
And that tackle, Gavin Hill, was hit extremely hard. He's on the ground. It looks extremely sick in the background. I'm sure that the trainer coming out will make sure he's right. Oh, as I'm speaking, he's getting up on the ground. He's just groggy. He just can't make it to his feet.
Well, this is Harrison. Clark, Betts, the try scorer. Then underneath, Clark over the top. Gavin Hill being attended to. Midway, halfway of the quarter line. Great Britain's end of the field. Steadman. Good clearing kick. Ridge is back there. He has to let it bounce inside his own quarter. Plenty of chasers. Connelly does the tackling.
Another good set completed by the Great Britain side and a good kick to improve their field position. The Kiwis now, they'll just want to keep this ball close to the ruck, try and get a roll on with quick play the balls, and likewise return the favour with a good kick at the end of this set.
Todd to the quarter line. Number 17 is Mark Woods warming up for New Zealand.
They may have to stop play here because Gavin Hill just can't make it up on his feet. He's falling backwards. They're going to have to stop this game, bring the stretcher on.
Well, it's Steadman retrieving the kick inside his own quarter. And Gavin Hill being helped to the sideline. Sort of marvellous opening to his Test career, Gavin Hill. Betts inside to Martin Offiah. Inside it goes to Schofield. A borderline pass, but the referee was right on hand to say it wasn't forward. There's the kick. There's nobody home.
It's a good option.
Reach. What a reply. The counter-attack should be on here.
There's one area of the game that Matthew Ridge does not lack. It's in the department of courage. Again, there was some defence on the Great Britain side. 2 men coming down right on top of him. Put his body on the line to claim that loose ball. That's great play from the young fullback. Mark Woods onto the field replacing Gavin Hill, and no one likes to see that sight in rugby league.
Brendon Tuuta has the kick over the top, but Steadman is there.
Well, I don't know whether Brendon Tuuta's a designated kicker, but I'm sure if he was, he would have been much more keen to have tried to put that ball in the end goal. Put some real pressure on the Great Britain side.
The Lions leading 12-10. Platt to the halfway line. One world of sport. The second test. And the lines are opening up again, but this time it's been intercepted by Brent Todd, who keeps it alive. Back it goes to Ropati. Sean Hoppe in from the wing, looking for a bit of work. Pongia. Hoppe, fairly scrappy. Now it's Mark Woods, fresh pair of legs on there. 10 metres inside Great Britain territory. Todd, he'll take it up all day. One tackle to go. Now Freeman wants it. He wants the blind side as well. Mark Woods is down there. Great pickup. Back to one. Freeman on the Great Britain quarter line. Now it's Stuart. Good run from the former West Coaster. Centre field, right in front of the sticks. A drop goal is not an option at this stage. They need a 4-pointer. Meters out. Freeman, Clark, there's the kick through. Ropati's there, and it was Edwards who got there before the ball and towed it dead. So we'll have a restart from the quarter line. Good chasing from Ropati.
Yeah, smart play again by the Kiwi side. Dean Clark opting to put that ball into the end goal. Sean Edwards forced to kick it dead, which means that the Great Britain side have to defend up another set of 6 for the Kiwis. Great opportunity for them now. Good field position. 6 tackles to have a go at the Great Britain side with.
Not a bad clearance, though, from Steadman down to the halfway line. Good run from the replacement. 10 metres out. They want it down the blind side. Toddy's there. 2 metres out. Freeman. Back to Woods. Mark Woods having a go on his own. Freeman. Ropati, 1 tackle to go. There's a grubber kick from Freeman. This time it is cleaned up by Great Britain.
Yeah, the idea was right by Kiwi captain Garry Freeman. Wanted to get another set of 6 on the last. And just fouled with a little bit of Great Britain traffic in the way of trying to get that ball into the end goal.
17 warming up. Carl Fairbank from Bradford Northern. Lee Jackson holding his nose. Got a bump there. Took plenty of time to play it. This is Betts. We've really seen the best of Dennis Betts today, haven't we? Been a bit hot and cold on tour. 15 is the replacement. Michael Jackson over the top. It goes to Eastwood. This is what the Kiwis must be careful of with this Great Britain side. Give them an opportunity and they'll certainly take it. Schofield. Edwards. Powell. Betts. That's the halfway. Great Britain 12. New Zealand 10. We've had 15 minutes of the second half. Hope you're enjoying the action on One World of Sport. Ridge sent back to his own try line.
As we see that replacement going on for Great Britain, Carl Fairbank going on for Michael Jackson.
Good to see the winger, Sean Hoppe, there, again coming in to do some of the hard stuff early in the tackle count. Brent Todd, who's been leading the defensive work and also been leading the hit-ups. He's had a fair game, strong influence in the match.
Mark Woods, tackled by Carl Fairbank, and Huey, it's not often you see a replacement going on to replace a replacement.
No, not normally, so I'd say that Malcolm really isn't happy with the work that Michael Jackson has been performing out there. Certainly he would be concerned.
Steadman. Plenty of Kiwi chases. Freeman. Bill Clark.
And a strong tackle from the Kiwi vice captain Brent Todd. He's had a fantastic series this year, the front row.
And into Offiah. One-on-one. Rich is missed him. Blackmore's chasing. Offiah, and he's missed. Chariots has done it again for Great Britain. His teammates are happy. There are a few Great Britain supporters here, but they are certainly smiling. 16-10, Great Britain lead.
Yes, one world of sport. In Lion Red, you probably wouldn't see a better footballer in any code of football than this man, Martin Offiah, probably the fastest man playing football in any code. Steps inside Matthew Ridge, and he has two very fast players chasing, Sean Hoppe and Richard Blackmore, and he's just coasting away very, very comfortably. The former player who was at Witness, he was signed originally by Doug Lawton after watching him play in the 7-a-side tournament 4 years ago, and he's had a sensational debut with Rugby League over the last 3 or 4 years. A marvellous competitor, very, very fast player.
Great stuff by Martin Offiah. Once he stepped back inside Ridgie, you could have put your glasses down and just stood up and applauded because he just set his sights on the line. The pass originally to him looked marginally forward, but you can't deny this man. Well, he is the fastest man in Rugby League.
I know he was disappointed last week, being shut out of the match by Sean Hoppe, and really things didn't go his way. That's his 25th test try and only his 26th test match. Leading try scorer on tour with 7 tries. And a gift 2 points here for Paul Eastwood.
Huey, Martin Offiah was always going to strike at some stage, wasn't he?
Oh, he's one player you just can't hang off whatsoever, and he's always sniffing around. You know, whenever there's any breaks or any half breaks, mate, he's always on hand, and he was on hand there by Daryl Powell, who showed exceptional skill to spin out of a couple of tackles and just look for the players coming up on the inside in that play. Obviously, Martin Offiah, as I said, once he stepped inside Ridgie, you just could put your glasses down because he was off.
Third time lucky for Eastwood. The crowd not happy with the ball falling over again.
Garry, it'd be a fair move to put that bloke there, Martin Offiah, in a black singlet and enter in Barcelona for the New Zealand 100 metres. We'll probably come away with a medal.
We just have to change his accent a wee bit, saying that, Ken. But just as I speak, there has been a replacement also by New Zealand. Mike Kuiti has gone on to replace Brendon Tuuta.
He doesn't miss them from in front. So after 18 minutes of the second half, Great Britain have turned it around. They're leading now by 18 points to 10. The Kiwis came back in Palmerston North. What about today? Him again in that book of yours called Huey. Have you got some tactics you might be able to take out to the Kiwis?
Nothing written for this script. You know, what Great Britain did last week, I'm sure that they won't allow it to happen again. They were absolutely ropeable, as I said earlier, on the result of that game, and they couldn't believe they actually lost it. And I think, given the same set of circumstances we have here now, you won't see the same thing happen. But you never know. The Kiwis can do anything.
Well, Malcolm really in the middle there, still not smiling. He knows that it's an 80-minute game. Betts. Here we still have a major task today to name the MVP, the UVX MVP of the day, and also of the series. So before you head back and join up with Graham Hughes and Graham Lowe on Aussie League on 2 next week, you've got a major job for us again today, helping us sort that out.
Oh, yeah, it'll be a real headache today, but I've had a great time over this period that we have back here, especially a special thanks to Lion Red and Air New Zealand National for their great service. Schofields of Newmarket and the Centra Hotel. I've had a terrific time, enjoyed myself, but I'll be looking forward to get back to Sydney, but let's wait till the end of this game. I'm really getting pumped up about this.
Former Kiwi skipper Hume again, sideline on one world of sport, looking to see if his former teammates can pull this one out of the bag after a sensational opening to the test match, and now they've lost momentum.
Huey, this player in possession of the football now, Mike Kuiti, I know you're a big fan of his. Howie's obviously pitched him in to do a job. Give us some variation on the edge of the ruck.
Well, he made an impact in the game last week when he came on, as the other replacements did, and I'm sure it's a great move again by Howie to bring in Mike. His ball skills and his defensive work it goes unwarranted a lot of times, and I'm sure that he'll come in a great vote today.
You still haven't seen this New Zealand back line firing today. I thought there was going to be something on there, but Great Britain shut them down. Rare mistake from the Kiwis, or that man Freeman. It wasn't the best of passes, though. He had to snatch at it.
Just a lack of communication there, just a breakdown by a couple of players. Garry obviously wasn't expecting that, but yeah, come on, Kiwis, let's big ourselves up. We've still got about 20 minutes of this game to go.
New Zealand still dominating field position as well. They've had about 73 tackles inside the opposition half. Great Britain have only been in the New Zealand half by for about 35 tackles. Great Britain have... So the statistics are saying that New Zealand should be in front, but they're behind by 8, 18 to 10, 20 minutes to go. Betts really runs onto the ball well.
And it's that man Garry Schofield again. We've got to watch him. We just can't let him play. Go up and make him do something.
Carl Fairbank. There's another try. No! Jackson went without it. Freeman cleans up. Bit of a let-off for the Kiwis again. Kuiti. 6 tests for Mike Kuiti after making his debut in '89. Now it's Stuart.
Very good defence from the Great Britain side, especially the big blokes around and play the ball area, doing a lot of the tough stuff, trying to force an error. Again, 5 metres only the Kiwis are going from this set of 6.
Mark Woods. That's the quarter line, and that is the 5th tackle.
Greg, we've lost that spark we had in the first half and the last 15 minutes of last week's game. We've lost it. We've got to go back and find it.
Steadman brings Eastwood back inside, into open spaces. Todd and Freeman are there. Todd and Freeman leading the way again for the Kiwis today. Fairbank relishing his opportunity in Test football again. His first Test appearance on this tour. Malcolm really hoping that his side won't go to sleep again today like they did in the last 20 of the first Test in Palmerston North.
Yeah, well, possession of the football and good field position like this will make it a lot easier on Mel Reilly's side to be able to maintain their dominance so far in this match.
Look out for the field goal, fellas.
Schofield. Betts. That is the 5th tackle.
Huey, that's their big play, isn't it? Dennis Betts off Schofield on the 4th on the edge of the ruck.
Really has worked wonders for them on this tour.
Freeman. Chance for a counter-attack here. Ropati. Out to Hoppe. He does well to stay in the field and play. Penalty to New Zealand. Kicking him to play the ball. Maybe this will be the spark that the Kiwis need, as Malcolm really praised. Freeman, Stuart to the halfway line. Duanne Mann. Clark.
Yeah, we're having a bit of difficulty getting quick play of the balls, and here's another slow one. That allows the Great Britain side valuable time to get back, adjust, and nominate the New Zealand attacking plays.
Well, a scrappy play in there. Knock-ons. Well, Huey, what about the options for Howie Tamati? We still have Daryl Halligan on the bench.
Well, I'm sure he'll use Daryl before too long, but in what position and what capacity he'll use him. But other options New Zealand have got to use. They've got to make Great Britain think about what they're doing. The little chips over the top, little grubbers in behind. Let's just start making them think and not be too predictable in what we're doing.
Well, at the moment, Dean Clark has moved back to standoff. No, he hasn't. He's moved to the centres. Kemp is in standoff, and Ropati is in the centres. I'd bring Blackmore into the centres, bring Halligan onto the wing.
You're starting to confuse me now. I'm sure they're going to be confused out there.
Well, let's see what unfolds. Freeman leading the team by example today. Garry Freeman, he'll give it everything to try and rally his troops again. Kemp, Kuiti out wide to the quarter line. 6 tackle, handover.
Well, I don't think that's the tactic that you'd be promoting. Who are getting caught with the ball on the last. They would have been better off to try to put that ball in the end goal and put some more pressure on the Great Britain side by trying to get back-to-back sets of 6, which is going to be all important now.
Especially when you're 8 points down.
Kiwis really need to force a mistake here.
I think you'll see pretty conservative stuff on the Great Britain side now. One off to play the ball area, dummy half runs, and Schofield able to go back for the kick.
Platt taking it up again there. He's leading the hit-ups for Great Britain with about 13. Brent Stuart and Brent Todd have about 16 hit-ups to their credit. That's taking the ball up on the play the ball.
I think they'll have to be careful if they use that option as they did last week. It backfired on them, and New Zealand were able to come back. They're 8 points up, as they were last week. They're going to make sure that they change their tactics and not be too conservative in what they do.
Hoppe thrown into the turf by his opposition winger, Offiah. Freeman, Ropati, back to Freeman, Blackmore, out to Kemp. Connelly has him covered. The Blackmore's out there. Richard Blackmore did well to stay in the field of play. That was better from the Kiwi backs. Mann, Todd, Mark Woods, Pongia, been touched. Penalty to New Zealand. Now this is interesting. It's pretty well in front. Do they go for 2?
Go for 2.
15 minutes to go. No, they got a kick. Always a difficult one.
Well, we've seen their replacement made. Daryl Halligan is on for Ropati. And just it'll be interesting just to see what position he'll be going into. As I speak, he moves out into the left wing, and Richie Blackmore will move into the centres.
Ropati's still on there. I think it's Clark. Pongia. Quentin Pongia, 2 metres out.
I'm sorry, I am mistaken. You're correct.
Freeman, Todd inside. Brent Todd pops one over to nobody. Desperation past that one, and Great Britain come away with it. New Zealand missing opportunities.
Well, we've got the benefit of hindsight, and the Kiwi players down on the park don't. But really, there was an opportunity to take 2 points there and then get the ball back from the kick-off and complete another set of 6. They didn't. They came up empty. Great Britain have got the ball. They'll be content to just complete the set of 6, play out time, and try and improve their field position at the end of the set.
18-10. Great Britain leading New Zealand. At half-time, it was the Kiwis in front by 10 points to 6. Betts. No, it's not. It's Platt, his Wigan teammate. Steadman. First touch of the ball for Daryl Halligan.
Greg, we speak of the score at half-time of 10 points to 6, and New Zealand were actually doing extremely well. They've lost their spark, as I said earlier, but I was talking to Fred Arcoy, an old great of New Zealand Rugby League, and he obviously was concerned that we didn't put enough points on the board. We had opportunities to put more points on in the first half, but just didn't take our opportunities when we asked for them.
I look back at that period where we had 18 tackles in a row, and in the end we gave away a penalty because we didn't play the ball correctly.
And also they ended up with 6 points.
Kemp. Ropati. looking to add a bit of spark, but he ran right into a good defensive effort. Now it's Kemp over the top. Steadman has it. Halligan throws him into the turf, 20 metres out from the Great Britain line.
Those are the options we should be taking out there, but we've got to make sure the application of those tactics need to be employed just a little bit better.
Jackson, Daryl, Powell, here we go again. Sean Edwards kicking for Martin Offiah. He was taken out of play, and accidentally so. Hoppe comes away with it.
You see on the Lion Red replay, Sean Edwards trying to put Martin Offiah away with a good kick, but they get tangled up in the traffic.
Blackmore gets it back now to Kemp. Kiwis going backwards. Kuiti. Now it's Todd.
The Kiwi side are starting to have a catch-up look about them now, throwing passes while they've got defenders around them. Crucial stage of the game now.
Yeah, I don't want to really sound too critical, but I think that penalty we had out in front, the point should have been taken. It would only been 6 points behind, just one try. Now we still have to score twice.
Well, Kuiti's put it down. There's a knock on.
See the difference in enthusiasm when the Great Britain side advance the football. Good yards, quicker play the balls, and a lot more comfort for them.
Betts. Powell to the quarter line. Offiah. 20 metres out. Betts.
Look for the field goal.
Now it goes down to Schofield. There's the field goal. It's there. Chalk up another 1 point for Garry Schofield and Great Britain. They're leading by 19 points to 10.
Great Britain side have been together now on tour for 2.5 months. They play in a tough English competition. They're all professional footballers, and in the heat of the Coliseum type atmosphere, they'll always do the right thing. Garry Schofield on the Lion Red replay calmly snaps over a very important drop goal.
And we'll see a replacement for Great Britain. Paul Newlove is on to replace Carl Harrison. There'll be a reshuffle in the forward pack. You'll see Daryl Powell actually coming to lock and everyone else move up one. Paul Newlove moving out to the wing.
And with 10 minutes to go, Huey, that'll add more enthusiasm to the Great Britain defensive side.
Well, we're seeing the same game as last week, except the roles are reversed. We've got Great Britain with all the enthusiasm and New Zealand trying to fight back into it, but we need something for us to happen. We need for our playmakers to really pull out something out of the bag to get us back into this game.
And I think the Kiwis can do with some crowd support as well.
Well, there've been no shortage of that through the day. They can't blame the crowd if they lose this game because they've been right behind them the whole way.
Yes, and wasn't it pleasing to see the reception that former rugby union player Daryl Halligan received from the big crowd when he came on? He's obviously got the respect of rugby league people in New Zealand, hasn't he, Hugh?
Oh, he's a true sportsman, and regardless of what code they play, it's great to see New Zealand supporters getting behind their players.
Okay, that's the fifth tackle on the halfway line for Great Britain, leading by 9 points. Edwards down to Hoppe. Ropati, Mann, Stuart.
New Zealand now with time running out on the clock, forced to take all the risks. A lot of short balls been thrown around that play the ball area.
That is exactly what Coach Howie Tamati doesn't want to see, or the fans. Schofield, double round, Edwards.
Yeah, the Great Britain side now content to play out time. Drop balls have been fairly evenly matched, only one separating them.
But in the second half, New Zealand have dropped 4 balls into Great Britain's 1, and that's really been the story of the second half. As we see Clark play it, 25 metres out, Fairbank up to the quarter line. He's allowed to pop it back to Steadman. Connelly got away from Kemp. A kick for Eastwood. Ridge is back there, he's going to let it go dead. Restart from the quarter line. Well, it's now or never for the New Zealanders. Malcolm really.
They've got a team full of hardened professionals from the English competition. Several of them have had experience in the tough world of the Winfield Cup. This Great Britain side now, they won't make the errors that they did last week in the closing sections of the game. They will play conservatively, close to the play the ball area, and take home a test victory.
Pongia, one out the back from Kemp to Halligan. Eastwood read it pretty well though. Woods up to the halfway mark.
Still tremendous support here for New Zealand. The crowd is still getting behind it, but also we're talking support. The Great Britain supporters starting to get their songs into voice. It sounds great, and they've been very, very happy with the support that they've got the Great Britain side.
Howie Tamati can only wonder what might have been after a pretty good start to the test match. Things haven't gone the Kiwis' way in the second half. A chance now. It's back to 1.
That's those little chips we were talking about earlier. You've got to make sure that they're done properly and in the right place.
Well, this will be a penalty to New Zealand. The touch judge is on. Offiah will be pinged for going high on Hoppe.
Oh, that was a little harsh then if he's going to be penalised for that, because he grabbed him around the collar area and there was no direct contact with the facial area.
Yeah, and I agree, because Bill Harrigan was willing to let that go, but until the linesman came in, he has to now make a ruling on it.
It's a tough decision against the Great Britain side.
One well sport. 5 minutes to go in the second test. The Kiwis desperate for at least a converted try to get them back into it. Freeman at dummy half. Todd. Brent Todd. 11 metres out. Quick play the ball. Freeman. There's Mark Woods. Centre field, right in front of the sticks. 10 metres out. Freeman likes his chances down the blind side. A switch of play with Matthew Ridge. Ropati by Kuiti. The gap closes. They can score here. We're in for an exciting finish. There's Ropati. There's Matthew Ridge. There's Brent. There's his second try in test matches. Toddy has got him back into it. But what a try through 3 or 4 sets of hands. The crowd goes wild.
Well, it's a well-worked try for the New Zealand side, but one person they can thank is the touch judge, because he came in, made a ruling against the Great Britain side. And we see on the line red replay Duanne Mann at dummy half. Garry Freeman at first receiver looking for options. Ropati comes back in with a different line. A one ball back from Matthew Ridge to the Kiwi vice-captain Brent Todd, and he goes over in the tackle of the Great Britain side. We see the final stages with that one-handed ball to Brent Todd, goes down underneath the tackle of the Great Britain players for a fair try.
Matthew Ridge, he's done it. We have an exciting finish on our hands now. 19-16. Brent Todd, the try scorer. Ridge adds the extras, just 3 points in it. Mel really having nightmares about the finish last week in Palmerston North. Will history repeat itself today? Can the Kiwis come back?
Well, 2 minutes to play. I stress how important that goal, shot a goal from that penalty, was how important that was to the team. It would have been 18-all at present if they had taken that kick, but you know, anything can happen. But still, 1 minute left to play. Great Britain will be slowing down. As Bill Harrigan stops the clock, he knows that Great Britain are trying to stretch out as much time as they can. New Zealand have to get down the other end of the park very, very quickly.
After the match, we'll have the UBIX MVP, Most Valuable Player of the Day, and also the UBIX MVP, Most Valuable Player of the July Series, a test against Papua New Guinea and the 2 tests against Great Britain. Freeman, Ropati, Kemp, over the top, Hoppe, shot, Hoppe, still going to the halfway line. Now the crowd gives it a last roar. Freeman, Mann, Pongia, Kuiti couldn't link up with Halligan, and there's a little knock-on in there. Freeman doesn't like it, Kuiti doesn't like it. Halligan says we'll back down what could be the last scrum of the match.
That was a tough call against the Kiwis. There was a hand in there by Great Britain. Bill Harrigan unsighted as to what actually went on there. It looked as though it was knocked on, but a little unlucky.
Edwards, he'll take plenty of time to play this. Great Britain leading by 19-16.
Greg, I'm looking up the clock. That clock hasn't moved yet. We're still on 1 minute to play.
Fairbank, 10 metres from halfway. They won't be doing anything silly here. Betts. While in 3 test matches in 1990, no more than 3 points separated Great Britain and the Kiwis. It was 1 point last week. It's 3 points at the moment. This is the final tackle for Great Britain. Steadman. It's been towed through, but there's a knock-on, a penalty. A penalty to New Zealand, in fact, because Great Britain were offside. Now, players are running onto the field.
Oh, this is ridiculous. These people, the game isn't over. They've got to stay off the field. Security should be doing their work. I know it's great for the kids to get on there and chant them, pat their heroes on the back, but they've got to understand there's 3 points left in this game with still a minute to go on the clock.
Matthew Ridge finds touch. 19-16, Great Britain leading New Zealand. Freeman, Todd, Hoppe throws the dummy. Can the Kiwis pull off a miracle? There's the high kick from Mike Kuiti. He gave it plenty of air. They allowed to bounce. Hoppe. He kicks into open spaces. Schofield is back there. He's going to take the tackle. It is all over at Carlaw Park. Congratulations to Great Britain. The Kiwis couldn't come back like they did in Palmerston North. New Zealand led by 10-6 at half-time. But the second half really belonged to Great Britain, a professional effort. They've salvaged some pride. The last test match on to Garry Freeman. Disappointment for him, but gee, he played his heart out today. So full time, Great Britain 19, New Zealand 16, and it's been a drawn series in 1992.
Coverage of today's Rugby League International, the Kiwis against Great Britain, was proudly presented by One World of Sport and Lion Red.